everybody. Flux Podcast, episode 193. 93. It's 93.
It's more. It's one more than the last episode, and one less than the next episode.
Episode last plus one.
Yeah. That's how we do math here.
If we ever do a last episode of the show, I'm probably going to call it episode N+1. Then pretend we never finished. Just, hey, it's the most recent episode. So, I'm Casey. Hi, how's it going? We got Weasel.
Hi.
We have Zero.
I just wrote like a whole prose poem, and now I feel very musical.
You know what would help with that?
I'm not going to.
Spoken.
Hi, I'm not Kenshi618. I wish he was here this week, though. That would have been nice.
Oh, considering most of our audience is only here for him.
That guy was a douche anyway.
Oh, don't insult the fans. Come on. It's perfectly reasonable to be here just for Kenshi.
I thought Weasel was talking
all.
about Kenshi, to be honest. So.
Oh, no, not Kenshi, the fan who said that.
It's fine. And Patient.
Hello, everyone. Spoken stole my line.
It's weird how you can complain about someone stealing your line that's stealing someone else's line.
Gimmick.
Yeah. It's... Okay. So, I've basically got only one thing to talk about, aside from... Oh, I almost caught up to Persona 5 at the point where I was at. And then I stopped playing for a few days. I'm fairly certain that is just a really low point in fun during that game.
Which, is it the 5th dungeon?
It's the space between Futaba and the 5th dungeon.
I don't
usually a low point of fun for a video game.
I don't necessarily think that's a low point. I think that's actually there's lots of good things that happen in that short time period, unless you're talking about the whole startup wind up to the 5th dungeon with
that and the fact that the 4th dungeon is kind of unsatisfying, frankly. It doesn't have the catharsis of the other ones previous, because it's a bit of an outlier in how those work.
I kind of liked it because it was an outlier, to be honest. Because it was changing the formula. The 5th one is closer to how the previous ones were, but the 5th one's probably my least favorite.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll get back to it, because I didn't fuck anything up, so I can just go straight back to it and not worry about it whenever that happens. But in the meantime, something else has caught my attention that I'll talk about after everyone else has talked about their stuff, because otherwise this episode is going to be about one thing and one thing only, and we are not the One Piece podcast, people. So...
I think at least 2 of the 5 people here today, possibly 3 plus you, so probably everyone but Zero is going to prove you wrong there.
I read One Piece.
Is the One Piece podcast still a thing? Because I remember listening to that back in the day.
Fandom Flux is in denial.
They are still a thing. Good for them. Some staying power. Episode 487. Holy shit.
Fandom Flux is a river in Egypt.
Oh, River in the Desert. Yeah, okay.
Kellogg's cereal and One Piece collaboration? What the?
Excuse me?
Can I get like a picture of Luffy right next to, Booberry? Can we get a thing for that?
Well, there's
So
Luffy next to, I think
this...
that's... I don't know what that is. Captain Crunch, maybe? But
Booberry is a promotional cereal that only comes out around Halloween.
We're getting close to October. I'm thinking about Blueberry.
I have to wonder, is that Kellogg cereal is in the actual Kellogg cereal, or Kellogg cereal is in the cornflake homunculus?
Those are actual Kellogg cereals. Obviously, it's a Japanese promotion. That's a real thing.
What did you do this week, Casey? Tell everybody.
No, I'm not doing mine because, like I said, it's going to take up everything.
Okay.
So, who wants to go first?
I'll go.
All right.
So, I bought a game after hearing it was really good. It's called Divinity Original Sin 2.
You just bought a Pillars of Eternity / Baldur's Gate type game. Jen.
I did, but it's not point and click, so I enjoyed it.
Alright.
That's my only hang-up, is I don't like point and clicking, but if I can point and click with a controller, it's different.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's oddly
it does?
specific. Yeah, that's oddly specific.
I actually really hate some games that require a controller, but their PC ports I enjoy because the keyboard layout just feels better for me.
Like, you don't point and click in this game. It is when you move with your stick, you do move, but you do select your spaces with in battle, kind of where you move. It's really good. I am really happy with it. I'm playing as a skeleton in the game. And so here's the thing. You can play as undead of basically any race. And if you play as an undead, you have to cover your whole body in like armor or something so that you can not get attacked on sight in towns, essentially. And there's all these like cool racial abilities each race has. Like, for example, a skeleton, you can rip the faces off of other people and then become that race and gain the racial abilities of that race.
That seems weird and kind of creepy.
It is weird and kind of creepy, but you're a skeleton. So
if you're a skeleton, that means you don't have a penis, right?
yeah, but you can still try to romance things. It's just going to be really awkward when the armor comes off.
Insert
Also-
penis / bone joke here.
Also, Weasel, no, skeletons are not Namekians.
Just
So-
fill in your own jokes.
Yeah, this is Divinity Original Sin 2. I never played the first one. There's a surprising amount of just character dialogue in that game that just like is really fits really well. The game is kind of extremely open, so you can go about and do things however you want. There's obviously quests and ways you can do things, but you can just go about your business and do whatever you want. It's a lot of fun. I was running around with a bucket on my head for the longest time because I didn't want anybody to find out I was really a skeleton man.
A bucket.
Yes.
Yeah, it's basically reverse Skyriming.
I was reverse Skyriming my way through it. It was the greatest. So I was leading the Buckethead Brigade.
Okay.
It's a really good game. Very interesting, very addictive, in that I kind of lost track of time really badly the past couple days because I was playing it. And just check it out if you're interested in a sort of a very free D&D-ish style game. Aside from that, wrote a Poe's poem earlier for class. That was interesting. I had to base it off a myth, so I based it off Orpheus and Eurydice. And when he, went into the journey into Tartarus. Kind of the same thing Persona 3's referencing a lot.
Is it
Yeah,
Eurydice or
Orpheus.
Eurydice?
It's Eurydice.
I think
Yeah, I don't know Greek names. I'm sorry.
neither do I, but it had to be something like that.
Eurydice or whatever. I
Jeez.
made like a modern day sort of equivalent, and it was pretty fun. Was 4 words. I had 4 words left before I hit the word limit, which was 500 words. So, close call. Aside from that, really not much has been going on this week. It's been kind of a just do schoolwork and work, play this really cool, fun game. Yeah,
Cool. So
that's my week.
Anyone else
Anyone else what?
want to go?
Yeah, the reason why you're here.
Spoken, did you want to go next or should I?
Go for it.
Okay, I had a bit of a scare last night. As I was settling in for bed, laying there trying to sleep, I called 911 because I honestly thought I might have been having a heart attack. Yeah,
Okay.
My left arm was hurting. I had a bit of shortness. I had some shortness of breath. I was a little dizzy. I was sweating. So I called 911. They checked me out. Turns out, nope, no heart attack. Thank God. It was partly low blood sugar, partly that I was sleeping on my arm wrong, and partly because it was just hot that night.
Okay.
That sounds like a series of unfortunate events.
Yeah. I'm glad you're
Yeah.
okay, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I have had Biodad and 2 of my grandfathers have had heart attacks. One of those grandfathers died of that heart attack, so I know that I have a history of heart disease in my family, so I'm a little paranoid about it.
Hey, I have a history of heart disease in my family too. Yeah.
How old are you?
22.
I'm Weasel, I meant.
I'm going to be 28 tomorrow.
Oh. Happy early on birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday. Maybe worry about the heart attacks in 10 years at least.
Okay. Yeah, tomorrow is my birthday. Lucan and I are heading down to the movie theater to see the Assassin's Bodyguard. The Hitman's Bodyguard, that was it.
Oh!
Was that it?
Oh, yeah, the Hitman's Bodyguard. I just
Yeah.
saw that. We stole that online.
And then we're going to Asian Fusion, which is the perfect restaurant for Lucan and I, because Lucan hates Chinese food but loves Japanese food, and I hate Japanese food but love Chinese food. Asian Fusion serves both.
Lo mein is amazing.
I like fried rice and pot stickers.
I'm hungry. Just woke up, guys. Come on.
Case, do you want to take a break, go get some food?
No.
Okay.
I'm a professional, thank you. If I'm here for a show, I'm here for a show.
He's a professional. That's why he accidentally closed the chat window earlier.
Now, professional and fully awake are not necessarily the same thing.
Oh.
But when you say you're professional, 5 minutes after that happened.
15 minutes, thank you very much.
Okay. Oh, and I have a joke.
Okay.
Patient, you might want to mute me.
There it is. Yep.
Oh,
No
So-
hesitation.
So a guy goes to a bar, and he meets a girl named Sky. So he gets to know her, and he also gets to know the bouncer of the bar, big giant guy named Nord. So he gets to know her over the course of a few weeks, and after a while they start to get pretty close. She says, "Hey, you want to try this new thing? It's called rimming." So they go to the back room.
Okay, I see where this joke is going.
So they go to the back room, and he's about to do it when Nord bursts into the room, shoves him off Sky, and does it instead. He's like, "Dude, what the hell?" And Nord says, "Sky's rim is for the Nord."
I can actually hear crickets outside my window right now. Well done.
I can't because headphones are great, and I don't think we actually have crickets in this country. But I feel like they're there in spirit.
Two guys walk into a bar. The third one ducks. The fourth one stops swinging it.
There are so many variations on that joke.
At least it got some chuckles.
A neutron walks into a bar. He asks the bartender, "How much for a drink here?" He says, for you, no charge."
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Here's a fun one. What did Tarzan say when he saw the elephants coming?
Look out.
I probably shouldn't be here during mating season.
He's muted again.
Tarzan should not be here during mating season.
He just said, "Here come the elephants."
Wow.
Patient.
Gosh.
Somehow you made that joke funnier just by muting yourself halfway through.
I mean, the elephants are just coming along. You just said, "Here come the elephants." Like, I don't know what you guys are thinking.
You know exactly what we were thinking. Don't bullshit.
That's a joke
Spoken-
I've told ever since I was a child, and I don't know why it's so funny until now.
Spoken.
Not.
Yes.
Save us from the onslaught of poor jokes, please.
I'm honestly disinclined, but fine, since you asked.
Don't make me use my anti-jokes.
No.
I'll admit I'm a little surprised that Weasel didn't bring this up. So anyone who has listened to this podcast for any length of time probably knows that we have been building up to a reveal for quite a while now. And as of the 19th, Weasel, Lucan, and I are now public members of the Crossbrain.
Yep. We are the neurofeedback.
Yay, I guess. I mean, I knew about this months ago.
Congratulations on announcing it. Was everyone surprised or happy, or were they just kind of like, oh?
Everyone was surprised and pretty hype.
Yeah, there's also a This Bites Discord now, which is going along pretty well and appears to be starting a tradition of getting our hands on the worst fanfic we can possibly find and then reading it for everyone's enjoyment, except the person reading it.
I have. We've done a lot of that, haven't we, Casey?
We have actually, yeah, now they mentioned it.
Oh, and I remembered something else, and this is also relevant to Spoken. We have started a new fanfic.
Nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
It is called ... But the Crime. It's a Fallout New Vegas SI.
Hmm.
Yep,
I think you
take
talked
me-
about this before.
Yeah,
It
you
was-
mentioned it.
Yeah, we mentioned it when we were in the middle of writing it and planning it. Yep, I plop my SI right in the middle of Fallout New Vegas and have PTSD attacks.
Yay!
Like, the first chapter ends with me getting into my first fight, having an immediate complex PTSD attack, hiding behind a rock, and the courier finishing the fight and sitting down next to me, patting me on the shoulder and saying, there, kid. It's all over but the crime."
Title drop.
Title drop. Roll credits. There we go. The end. No more.
Yeah, I'm passing off my meta-knowledge as being a psyker, to which people respond, "Bullshit." Because I
You're
don't
too
have the...
functioning to pull that shit.
Yeah, I'm too high-functioning to be a psyker in the Fallout
You
series.
gotta act like you're low functioning, like immediately after. Be like, and your favorite color is turtle. It's just like, okay, yeah, no wait, maybe he's not as high functioning as we thought.
Ready your weapon. Is mayonnaise a weapon?
It is
In
actually.
fairness, in the New Vegas setting, everyone is a bullshit artist. So trying to be one at their level, they're going to make you instantly.
God, yes.
Anyway, Spoken, you were saying?
Public members of the Crossbrain, we've got the comic release. We're working on some stuff for Chapter 1 now. I've got production coming up. We're starting to get into blocking for. What else? Weasel, thank you for that fanfic rec last week.
You're welcome.
That was actually a really nice fanfic that took me a couple of days to read through, and I'm following the updates now, so that's nice.
Well, I'm glad it was for somebody.
You didn't like it?
It's not for me.
Because yaoi?
Because yaoi and also the premise in general just seemed kind of generic.
Well, the premise is generic, but the execution is actually pretty good.
Well, that's good to know.
You're still not going to read it.
I'm still not going to read it.
It's okay, he's allowed.
I have too
Well, yeah,
much.
it's a
I have too many
podcast.
things.
Allowed is how everything happens here.
I have too many things to read and watch already.
Yeah, I gotta admit, even not doing anything as I tend to, well, aside from all the stuff that I have to do for this show, and the other shows, I'm falling behind on all sorts of crap as well. I've got like half a season of Day 5 to watch, and I haven't watched the new Last Week Tonight,
And I'm only on episode 59 of Critical Role.
I still haven't finished the last episode of Critical Role, and the new one comes out today. Yeah. Starting to fall behind on everything, mostly because of Wampus, so that'll...
Well, once you're caught up, thankfully, that's going to be less of a time sink.
Yeah, especially since I'm not going to be watching the anime, I'm going to be watching the cut anime, which is One Piece.
I'm gonna read the manga just to kind of catch up. I'm a few chapters behind, but just because I like to let them build for a while.
Yeah, I would recommend the manga, which, props to the Full Cake Island arc. Just about every week, something has been coming out in the manga that has had the cross-brain saying in our planning chat, Oda, you mad genius.
So are we going to transition into Wampus or?
Patient hasn't gone yet.
Oh yeah, Patient.
Weasel,
Patient,
please.
Well, they took the revelation of the This Byte Discord channel, so I suppose I'll move on from that.
Alright.
No, not complaining, just remarking on it. So, the Little East Blue chapter is coming along relatively nicely. We've got the first couple of sections written, and we've got the next one pretty much planned out. I think you're going to like what results from it. Aside from that, the poll on Zomniac's profile detailing whether we're going to be doing Strong World as one mega-sized chapter or 2 to 3 regular chapters. We've got almost twice as many votes for mega-sized than 2 to 3 regular ones. I wonder why. I suppose they just might not want to be left hanging on a cliff again. Perhaps.
Not that we're not probably going to end up doing that to them anyway. I mean, it is us.
Alright. Besides that, once Strong World is over, the whams are really going to start coming, and they're not going to stop until we hit the hiatus. It's going to be fantastic.
Going to be absolutely phenomenal.
Apart from that, for me personally, last week at work was enlightening. I had a couple of bad days in a row, and, well, missing the podcast, missing the Anime Reflux episode certainly didn't help. So, my bosses noticed, and they made it clearer to me exactly what it means to say that the company treats its employees like family. Was a very welcome revelation. So,
Oh, well, that's nice. That was not how I was expecting that sentence to pan out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was considering whether or not I wanted to keep going with this job, but it's going very well. And despite my reservations, the bosses are very nice. Nice indeed.
Nice.
Cool.
That's good.
Glad for that. And in the end, I did hit my minimum quota for the week, so that's good too.
Yeah, they raised that because you were doing well, right?
Yeah, and then I failed miserably only hitting the minimum quota. This week was just a bad week altogether. I'm supposed to get 4 sets by the end of the week, and the day before yesterday, which was the last working day of the week, I had 2. But I got 2 that day, which is good.
Nice.
Yeah, everything worked out all right. And I'm optimistic that these will actually sell, which will result in a lot more money for me if they do.
Woo, money.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And, what was it? Oh, yes. The management is holding an Italian feast for its employees tomorrow.
Nice.
Nice.
Pasta.
It's a pasta specific. All right. Anything besides that? Things are still going wonderfully with my girlfriend and I. She published the latest chapter of 12 Red Lines, which was an adaptation of the Dead End Adventure race.
And is yet another hit to the confidence of every person who they type at an acceptable rate.
Pardon?
30,000 words.
Oh, and another bit of wonderful news about her. I don't think she'll mind me saying this. She got her master's.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Mhm. The thesis she had to write was tedious, but it turned out well in the end, as is obvious. Here's hoping that when she handles it, she doesn't get any second-degree burns.
Go sit in the corner and think about what you just did.
Yeah. Yeah.
She thought it was funny.
That was horrible. You should be ashamed.
All right. Let me see. Anything else noteworthy? Nah, I watched Ever After again last night. Ever seen that movie?
Which one was that? The I recognize the
Ever
name.
After. Starring Drew Barrymore and Angelica Houston.
Oh, yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah.
Barrymore.
I think I saw that before, actually.
It actually has Merlin in it, but he's not a wizard. He's just, a Renaissance man artist.
It has who in it?
Didn't it have Merlin in it?
No, that was Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh, shit.
It's very easy to get those two confused.
Wow, memory.
They're very similar in a lot of ways.
In my defense, I saw that movie when I was a teenager. So that's like 10 years ago.
They were both men beyond their time. They were both very impressively bearded.
One was incredibly fictional. Oh, wait.
Screw you!
Both of them were probably some version of bisexual.
Yeah. The parallels just keep lining up. I'm pretty sure Leonardo da Vinci invented the time machine and became Merlin. I'm just saying,
I hate you all.
Conspiracy theory right here.
Weasel, you have to expect something like this to happen.
In fairness, I could see Da Vinci doing that, because going back in time just to create the greatest legendary story is absolutely the kind of thing a Renaissance man like Da Vinci would do.
Exactly. See?
Now that sounds like a good fan fiction plot to me.
It sounds like a good
Damn you all!
just book in general.
Yeah, you have a point. That doesn't have to be fan fiction. That's good enough that it could be its own book.
It's not fan fiction if it's a fictional history.
Screw you!
You're not our type, Weasel.
I hate you all!
Not
Also,
me.
it kind of stopped targeting. Stop targeting you a while ago. So stop.
We're
thinking about
we're
you.
just talking
We're
about
just
what could
talking.
be an incredibly fun story to write. Where Leonardo da Vinci has to play the role of Merlin and use science as magic. Because the real magic doesn't actually.
By the way,
exist.
you know how it said Merlin got his magical powers because he was the son of a incubus or succubus or something?
There's
Yeah.
a lot of
That's
different versions
one of the
for
many,
Merlin.
many myths about it. Yeah,
Well,
you just
in,
cut out, Casey.
in
I said
the-
many a lot.
I know.
Yeah.
In the Fate series, he looks exactly how you would expect, and acts exactly how you expect from someone who is half succubus / half incubus.
Gosh darn it, which fate thing did Merlin show up in?
Well, technically, all of them. He was the one who helps. He was the
He
one who
only
helped
makes
save
like a
Monstrous.
very cursory appearance though in the original, right? He just shows up for like a split second,
Hang on.
if I remember correctly. I don't think we actually saw like full art of him or anything until maybe Grand Order.
Yeah. He was in a little-known spin-off series called Fate Grand Wang. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
If I can just cut in
It's
for a
joke.
second here.
Yeah.
I think I'm done, but just so that I don't forget later, what's the anime reflux for tomorrow?
We will put that in a message so that we don't spoil people in the future.
Yeah. Good call.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for that.
Uh,
I thought someone had
yeah.
looked at it already.
it is it was Grand Order where he actually gets art. Okay, I deleted Grand Order off my phone
And
for
he's quite the
various
pretty boy.
money-saving reasons.
Yeah, Merlin is in Fate is quite the pretty boy and a bit of a troll. Bit of a bisexual troll.
Oh, also, sorry, patient, about the anime for tomorrow. Up to you whether you want to show up for it.
Lesbians.
Sorry, it's perverted, or sorry, it's depressing.
Well, I do have a decent excuse in that I need to pick up my part in the potluck at a local restaurant, so we'll see if I can show up or not. I mean, on one hand, maybe I won't like it, but on the other hand, I've missed anime reflux for the past several weeks, so we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Actually, Potato Valkyrie Drive Mermaid isn't that depressing. It's got a very hopeful message.
Yeah, it was the other thing, which was what I was talking about. Anyway, also, thanks for spoiling it, by the way. That's the thing.
Just edit it out.
What?
I can't be bothered doing that literally
Oh,
every
shit.
time. Yes, Weasel.
Well done, hun.
Anyway.
Well, look
Latest
forward to that
episode.
episode coming
Yeah.
out in the future.
Latest episode title, Fandom Flux invests in Weasel Muzzles.
Typing that down. Mm-hmm.
Ew! I mean, considering the joke I made today, that'd be a good title for this
I
episode.
do think we need a few muzzles around here.
Hate
just
you
in
all!
case.
Mm-hmm. That's an episode title. Thank you, patient. That saves me about half an hour thinking one. All right. Anything else to mention, patient?
No, that's all.
Okay.
And wait, doesn't everyone already know what next anime reflux is from last
It comes out
week's
on
episode?
Wednesday because
Oh.
we're a week ahead.
Oh.
So, in fairness, Zero had to remind me of that too, or I would have said it. But, you know.
Tater, why were you just fapping?
I was clapping.
Yeah. And why would he not do either of them when he's here with us on live recording? Not live, but on recording. Let's just talk about Casey's obsession with Wampus.
Yeah, the Wampus. So, yeah, I I think I said last week. I can't remember whether it was on the stream or the podcast or whatever. But
It was on podcast, I believe.
Yeah,
You were
there
catching up with one of
is basically a fan cut of the One Piece anime that removes basically all of the filler and all of the pointlessly slow pacing that some of the anime can have.
It removes the non-canon filler, right? It keeps the canon filler.
I don't know how deeply it cuts into it. Like, it could just cut out anything that's not in the manga, which would be a lot, probably. Or it could just cut out things that are just kind of pointless and just waste time.
Like Foxy.
Was Foxy canon? I feel like Foxy was
Foxy
canon.
was canon, yes.
Foxy is canon, but also kind of filler.
Even Oda admits that Foxy is pretty much filler because his only purpose is to lead into Aokiji's introduction.
So even discounting, even if you think about Oda never forgets, odds are we won't see Foxy again.
Yeah.
Unless it's in the anime where they have used him several times.
Oh, don't remind me.
Yeah. The Water Park
Or
episode, that
unless
was
it's
a
in
good
Fish
use of
Bites,
time.
where they continue using.
Oh yeah, Oda's pretty important in this bites. I mean, Foxy's pretty important.
Yes, Oda is pretty important in this.
Yes, he's pretty important, Weasel.
It's almost like he's the foundation of the whole thing.
Screw you!
You're not our type.
So,
Hate you all!
No, you don't.
so my understanding is it won't cut anything from the manga. So if it was in the manga, it stays in the series. That's about all I know for what it cuts. It does a pretty good job. Sometimes the edits are a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
Does it approach "Let's blast the iceberg at the end of Reverse Mountain" levels of awkward?
Not a mega fan, so you'll have to remind me.
In the
The
4Kids.
Single worst 4Kids edit.
Oh yeah, you bring up the 4Kids. Oh man. Oh.
I feel so sorry for you that you watched the 4Kids dub to the point where you got to Reverse Mountain.
Yeah, I never got that far.
I watched
But
the
I did
4Kids dub through the very end.
But I did watch the video that highlighted some of the greatest differences between the 4Kids and the other versions.
We actually reference the hammer gun in The Few the Proud.
So dumb. So dumb. Oh.
Like when Joker goes into Helmeppo's room, she notes a shitty hammer gun on the wall, hanging on the wall.
What the hell is that supposed to be? Don't ask me, it was a birthday gift.
So yeah, I've been watching that for the past week, to be honest. Like, the whole thing. Like, I think after the stream on Thursday, I just started watching it and haven't stopped.
Where are you right now?
So, when I gave up, I was partway through the Punk Hazard arc, and that was about as far as I got because it got really boring. Since starting One Piece, I started from the beginning of Punk Hazard to remind me, and I am at the point of Sabo's backstory at the end of Dressrosa. So all the fights have happened, and everyone's just kind of winding down, and Luffy's recuperating, and that's where I am.
Usopp's a god.
Yeah, that wasn't the main takeaway I got from Dressrosa, to be honest.
Well, what's the main takeaway you got from Dressrosa?
Holy shit, Oda's writing is horrifically sexist. Like,
You're not wrong.
it's not news by any stretch. Like, this is a thing that has been known for a long time. It's just been less incredibly obvious as it was in Dressrosa.
At least it's
Hammered
not as
into your
bad.
skull.
What?
I said less hammered into your skull
Yeah.
than with Dressrosa.
At least he's not as bad as Akira Toriyama.
I mean, Akira Toriyama did just introduce like 2 Saiyan women who are Super Saiyans. And...
That
Right, and it
technically
took him
speaking, that's
how
not his writing though. That's Toei.
Yeah, that's
Right,
Toei.
and
Toei's doing better than Akira Toriyama, I
That
should
also
say.
took how many decades?
Yeah, I mean, he forgot Launch existed.
Also, he made 18, and 18 is an example of a badass woman that is allowed to fight men and win, which is 2 steps further than Oda has ever gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Robin won against Yama. There was
Remind
more
me.
of a massacre than a fight.
Remind me?
Yama was the guy with the tenfold axe in Skypiea.
I
Pissed
don't
Robin
remember
off
that in
by crushing the
slightest.
ruins. He pissed
But
Robin
yeah,
off by
If
crushing the ruins.
if there are any characters that are women that are allowed to win fights, it's going to be Robin or Nami. Anyone else, it's just not going to happen. Even when it is a character explicitly decided to be kind of a badass because she is the undefeated champion warrior of the Colosseum or whatever, and then he has her cry in every scene she's in and
Yeah,
not hit
Rebecca really got
anyone.
shafted.
Yeah, that kind of was disappointing.
Yeah, Rebecca really got shafted.
Like, like I say, he doesn't. He definitely doesn't go out of his way to have women be badass. I was basically just begging for Tashigi to be able to do something cool, just something cool during Punk Hazard. Nope. But then,
Kind of does, but then at the same time, it's because she's smoker at the time.
yeah, you know, the only way a woman is strong is when a man is controlling her. That's a great
Hang
message.
on.
I will say, I don't think, because like, I was gonna like, there's a very kind of delicate point to bring up, which is at some point kind of is evidence against that, but at some point kind of evidence for that, and that's kind of the character of Boa Hancock. Which, like, okay, she's a strong. Oh, she's immediately in love. Okay, so it's, yeah, I'm seeing it, but
I mean, the point I was going for is Rebecca is the worst way he could possibly have done that character. Because what he did was say, hey, here is this character and she is going to be so badass because her description is literally the undefeated. Okay, cool. We get a badass female character for this arc. That's kind of novel, Oda. Good job. And then he bait and switches the fuck out of us.
yeah, when I first saw her, I was like, okay, this is gonna be really cool. She's gonna get like that fire fruit, and then she's gonna like join the crew or something, right? Because she's like a cool warrior girl. Because
Funnily enough, I think that might have been the plan until the massive backlash.
Yeah.
Because
That's
you
what- that's what-
notice
that's
that
what I-
Sabo just kind of shows up out of nowhere in that arc.
Yeah, I was like, I thought it was going to go that way, and I thought it was going to be like, okay, cool, we'll get another crew member that's a girl, and she'll be like a strong warrior chick, and she'll be a different type of character, and that'll be cool. But then Sabo comes out of literally nowhere, and it's.
He didn't come out of nowhere. What do you take him for, Bluno?
I mean, it's explained, but like,
It's explained long after the fact.
Yeah, it just kind of felt. It felt forced at the time, because boom, suddenly, hey, look.
Yeah. So that bothered me, and I basically had to force myself through the first half of that arc because it bothered me so much. She's, by the way, the only female participant in the tournament, by the way, worth noting. 550 people, and she's the only woman.
And that is only participating because she's being forced to, because Doflamingo wants her dead.
Yep. So that happened for a long time, and it basically, I could have started a drinking game by Rebecca Cries, and I would have had a really good night. But
no, you would have had alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, so but there was one moment of surprising catharsis that I really shouldn't have needed, but did, where they're fighting against all the Doflamingo captains, and Robin's trying to get up the platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And what's his name? Cavendish, his alter ego, takes over, and he tries to attack her, and Bartolomeo's like, "No, Nico Robin, I can't save you. Oh no, it's gonna be terrible." And she's just like, "Nope," and grabs him with like 20 arms, and just... That was so satisfying.
That moment when you're reminded that one of the female leads is in fact a trained assassin.
Yeah. And she's just like there, and Cavendish takes back over. He's like, "Oh, thank God, Nico Robin, I almost cut you." And you're just like, "No, you didn't. No, you didn't."
Okay, so his alter ego is called Hakuba.
Yeah.
Though I think Patient misspelled Cavendish as
I don't think he did.
Cabbage.
Luffy calls him Cabbage.
Pretty much
okay.
everyone calls him Cabbage at this point.
Yeah, I prefer Cabbage. It's more fun to say.
Yeah.
It's more fun to say, and it fits his personality.
I noticed that...
it's got layers, and it tries to be interesting, but it's just kind of there.
I noticed that Oda really likes the joke of the guy who's just kind of not really that competent, usually, or is kind of, in some way, not trying to be a hero or a leader, ends up jokingly being like with Buggy and all the prisoners, or like Usopp and the whole God Usopp thing, ends up being accidentally inspiring.
Yeah, I got kind of pissed off at Usopp a little bit there, because...
Yeah.
Character development, yay, everyone's a combatant and everyone's like strong and confident. Nope.
He was challenging one of the executives of one of the most powerful pirate crews in the world. You really expected him to win?
I expected him to try.
Well, of course he tried.
Eventually.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that Robin had been erased at that point, and Enies Lobby was where he got a lot of his character development, so without Robin being there...
There's an argument to be made, but, like, after the time skip, you get the feeling that, okay, everyone took a level in badass, so everyone should be ready, willing, and kind of expecting to get into a tussle every now and again.
Yeah.
Yet, you remember when on the ship, Nami, Brooke, Chopper, etc., were just kind of there after beating what's-her-name that no one remembers or cares about, and Doflamingo shows up and he's fighting Law, and all they do is scream.
It's Doflamingo. Just because they're more willing to fight doesn't mean they're willing to get into
Let's put this in perspective for where it was. Okay, so it's Doflamingo, yes, but at the time, we didn't know he was this incalculable badass because he hadn't done any of that shit, except to people who were already dead.
They knew he was
for perspective's sake, he was basically on the same level as Moria, or Crocodile, or
Kuma.
Jinbei, or Kuma. Kuma,
Or
by comparison,
Mihawk,
is not anywhere near as much of a threat as he used to be.
Or Mihawk.
Or Mihawk, which Zoro might not win a one-on-one against, but like several people at once, sure, they could take a shot. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, guys.
Yes,
probably
sir.
should have brought this up earlier, but see, I scheduled a doctor's appointment for today, and I thought that the podcast would be over in time for me to actually go there.
Oh, okay. If you need to go, you can.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
I kind of have a recommendation.
Then just leave it
Okay.
in the chat, and we'll...
I
Yeah.
can't really do that because I really got to explain this
Okay.
one.
Give it right now. We'll get back to One Piece.
Okay. Well, I don't actually have to go for another 6 minutes.
Then give it
Yeah.
right now, and then we'll get back to
Yeah.
One Piece while you go, because it's going to
Yeah.
take you a while.
Okay,
know
well,
you.
this is The Never-Ending Journey by Byron, but you may know him better as Ethan F.
Oh yeah, I remember he mentioned this.
Yeah.
I haven't actually started it yet.
You should. It's a Final Fantasy XIV self-insert. He's
But I'm kind of a bit. I've only played a very small amount of 14.
It's not my fandom, but from what I saw of it, it seemed fairly well written. I like the intro of introducing the character from a third person's perspective. That was a nice touch, I'm going to say.
He's a male Midlander Hewer. I think I'm saying that right. Who his class is Gladiator, which makes me think he might be going into tanking. The only major issue is that he really needs some transitions between perspective swaps.
Fair play.
Yeah, perspective swaps are kind of a. Like I use, there's a horizontal line tool thing that you can do in the doc manager on ff.net that I just use to.
Yeah. I tried to use that for a long time, and then fanfiction would just have a hissy fit every now and again and just say, "Oh no, you can't use those anymore." So I'm just going to remove them from every document. I stopped doing it after that and made custom ones.
But some sort of separation. Because otherwise people get lost and confused, and it's. Yeah.
It's kind of a train wreck for coding, just generally usability.
What, the page breaks?
Well, I mean, just like in general. Like for all that Archive of Our Own doesn't have the best reputation so far as content goes, I still really prefer it just because it's like actually well navigable.
We would have a debate, but I don't really care.
I am both.
Well navigable as opposed to the dumpster fire that
Okay.
is
Like I say, I'm not going to have the debate. Let Weasel finish the recommendation so we can go to topics.
And I am both following and have favorited this story and Ethan F. on fanfiction.net.
That's nice. I'll have to get around to reading this when I have the time. I've just been so busy.
Well, he's one of our most loyal fans. I had to, not had to, but I wanted to read it. He's been a good guy to us.
Ethan F., you're a good guy.
Yeah.
Check out your thing later.
Wasn't he part of the podcast at the start?
No, that was a
Different
different Ethan.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's because we had a person named Ethan when we first started. It's very easy to get confused. But
Unfortunately, at this point, Ethan F is more well known, so I'm just going to call it Ethan F and different Ethan. Those are the those are the two Ethans.
I mean,
It sounds kind of
Past
mean, but he was on like 18 episodes. We have 193, so
yeah.
justified.
We will always remember different Ethan for his wheelchair story.
God,
What?
that story. Okay, you want to see that story? Go back to I think episode 102. Because I feel like it'd be unfair for us to steal it right now. So,
Yeah.
Weasel, anything else to say?
Nope. That's my recommendation.
Okay,
All right.
go to the
Get out
doctor.
of here, you crazy kid.
Okay, I'll maybe not see you guys later, but
Tomorrow.
yeah, tomorrow. Definitely.
There.
Also, so see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
What were we talking about?
Dressrosa was a pretty long arc.
It was. The first arc, like I say, I dragged myself through it. when things kicked off, though, it got way better. Like, the fight started being cool and worthwhile watching. People didn't like the bouncing Luffy Gear 4 thing, did they, originally?
I thought it was kind of okay. It looked a little ridiculous, but it's Luffy. Ridiculous is kind of to be expected.
I really liked it because it fit with his character a lot in a weird way. And because he's always fought things that are way bigger than him ever since childhood.
Go ahead, Patient.
I said this back at the time that the Gear 4th was first revealed. It seemed to be the epitome for me of Oda's initial stance at giving Luffy the power of rubber. He wanted a fighting style that could be contrived as silly, so it was never too serious, no matter how dire the situation was. And like I said, Gear 4th just seemed to be the epitome of that.
A tattooed clown man made of rubber.
It's kabuki, but yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's... In the anime, they actually make it look kind of awesome. I'm not gonna lie, it looks really cool.
I really liked it. I was like, yep, that is... Like, Luffy's not gonna get, golden hair power-up. He's going to get a power-up that's natural, using all the things he has kind of in conjecture with one another. And the end result is he appears bigger, and he appears like one of those many, many captains that we've seen throughout the series that are just big and buff and like ridiculously oversized, and he kind of fit in that mold for a minute, and I could see him as one of those legendary captains for a moment.
Like, the one bit that still kind of makes it look a little silly is the tiny legs and the bouncing, but that's literally it. The rest of it is kind of cool.
Like, when he first, twists his arm into itself like that, when I saw that in the manga, I was like, oh, it looks like a Buster Cannon now. He's gonna, it's so good. Yeah. Oh, it looks like it's great. It's pretty hype, because it is a natural usage of his abilities pushed to the extreme, and I think that's how you develop that kind of power.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing, because with the times that it's come up already, I'm looking forward to when he awakens his Devil Fruit. That's going to be fun.
I thought that had already happened, to be honest.
Well, I honestly doubt it. He would have gone...
I actually thought it had already happened in the story.
No.
Gear 4th was Luffy going all out against Doflamingo, so that seems to be the apex of how far his Devil Fruit has gotten. Obviously, Oda's going to pull Luffy awakening at some point. There's no way that he wouldn't, but...
Chopper technically already has. That's what the monster form is. The giant Zoans from Impel Down were awakened Zoans.
Yeah,
so...
That's still something that needs a bit of clarification. Like, what's that chemical composition caused an artificial awakening or something like that?
Yeah, that's probably pretty much what it is, and doesn't actually need that much more explanation. It's just a confirmation. Yeah, that's what it is, and that's probably all you'll get.
Like, as far as awakened Devil Fruits are kind of concerned, the way I've interpreted them is, it's that one special transformation you get, and I feel like Gear 4 is as close to that as we've seen Luffy ever be. So,
yeah, Gear 4 is basically infusing the rubberiness and hockey. That's basically just infusing those in a very, very functional way.
Yeah.
So, 5th would have to be a step beyond, and that's probably going to be Awakening. Is going to be Gear 5th.
Yeah, and Gear 5th, if he had more control over his rubber, we could do some really crazy Reed Richards stuff. I don't know.
As though we aren't already, but yeah.
Even more so. because Luffy still has bones. Technically, he's like he has limits. Like he uses his arms, and even sometimes his neck. But like this, I don't know how far can you push that power. Like Oda's pretty good at actually doing that, and it's kind of like I don't know. I'm not creative enough for that even to like try to visualize what that would be.
I don't even know. Like that's the benefit and drawback of paramecia powers, because they are so bullshit. You can do all sorts of bullshit with them.
Yeah,
Like
Devil Fruit in general.
yeah, but like you can turn into an element that's pretty straightforward actually. For being the strongest type of devil fruit by default, yeah. But you can jailbreak paramecia so much more.
It's true. I mean, I liked some of the creative stuff that Ace showed at Marine for like those fireflies that he made out of fire. I liked that, but you can't deny paramecia fruits. Logia fruits may have raw power, raw ability, but that's ultimately all that they've got.
yeah.
I mean, some people, like Crocodile, for instance, he seemed to have jailbroken his fruit as far as it could go in embracing the element of dryness, if you will, and just using that to his advantage, which is why Luffy had such a hard time against him. But in Logia users in general, it's not hard to figure out their powers in the end. So.
Can you imagine if Buggy the clown awakened his devil fruit and he didn't have to keep his feet on the ground anymore?
Okay, see, now Oda has confirmed time and again that Buggy has all the potential to be one of the most powerful characters in the world. Yeah. He just doesn't put forth the effort needed to reach that point.
He could literally survive atomizing himself.
Yeah, no, he's really strong. If you really like put it to, that's probably already a fanfic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Duncan Idaho 2014 did a pretty good job at getting there with what he pulled with Buggy. And on that note, I should say, for those who haven't heard, New Game Plus is being put on an indefinite hiatus, up for adoption now for whoever wants it.
Sad face.
The Crossbrain has considered it, but we find it unlikely.
You guys have a lot on your plate.
That, and Zomniac isn't confident that we can keep Duncan's tone if we do take it over.
Man, I need to read this Bites. I think I'm going to start again from the beginning, just to kind of get through it and like remind myself of what happened, because I feel like I never read enough to really, appreciate it. Just kind of got busy and ended up falling off it.
So, yeah, that was pretty much talking about Dressrosa a lot, which, it was a long arc. Like, that was really long.
It has its good moments, but
it does. It has a lot of low moments. They're very much concentrated to the first half.
Punk Hazard and Dressrosa, like Punk Hazard, I think is worse.
I disagree. I think Punk Hazard was way better.
Well,
I liked Punk Hazard more just because it didn't fucking drag so much.
It didn't drag.
I guess that's true.
It got way dark for a part of it. Like, kidnap children and, legal experiments on children, and a girl overdosing herself on narcotics so that her drug addict friends wouldn't take them.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, that got kind of hardcore for a while there.
There's just some weird elements of Punk Hazard that I wasn't a big fan of.
I also really like the part of that arc where those hardcore bloodthirsty Marines that seem like they could do pirates proud. And what do they end up doing in the end? The Straw Hats are infectious to literally everyone.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
I at the very least, I will tell you the next couple arcs, very enjoyable.
Does it have a designated damsel? Because that's been a thing for these 3 arcs. The first one was Shirahoshi, Punk Hazard was Tashigi, Dressrosa was obviously Rebecca.
Yeah, I noticed that too, but no. Zoark has nothing resembling a damsel, and in Whole Cake Island arc, it's sort of the opposite, sort of the inverse.
There's some interesting twists in Whole Cake Island that make it a vast improvement over Dressrosa. So that's all I'm going to say.
That's one way to put it, yeah.
I'm trying not to spoil anything.
Another way to put it would be, I personally like Whole Cake Island better than any other arc since the time skip.
I'll look forward to it then. Yeah, we're probably going to do another one of these once I've actually caught up on everything.
I think we should just call this Wumpus. As
No,
in WHUMPUS, Wumpus.
I mean, we've already got an episode title, so that's not...
Yeah, but this
Then
segment
Weasel.
is called Wumpus.
Okay.
Be back with more Wumpus.
Okay.
I
Glad
just
that's
like the
cool.
word Wumpus.
I totally stole that from Team 4 Star, but yeah, okay.
You know, Wumpus, I don't care where you stole it from. It's a fun word. We're going to keep using it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're an hour and 10. So, recommendations?
I didn't really read anything this week because, again, I was playing Divinity, and I could recommend that game because it's pretty fun. Just go try it out. I got it for like $45, I think. I never played really much of Pillars of Eternity, so hearing it's kind of like that, I'm just like, well, you know, it's not point and click, and it has that good old haptic feedback that I wanted. So, Casey, I think you would like it.
I'm judging you.
I think you would like it, so I'm going to recommend it to you.
you.
You know what? You've judged me ever since you met me, so it's not much different at all. Hehe.
Yeah, you got a point. All right.
I do have a recommendation. Give me a moment. I'm going to grab a link for that. Someone else go ahead and do stuff. This is going to take me a moment.
I have to look through some stories because apparently I followed some stuff that I don't remember following.
I can contribute one if you like.
Sure.
My recommendation is from an author that I've recommended before, Blue Owl. I believe I know her real name, but I can't remember what it is. She published her own novel a few years back. Anyway, this is a Harry Potter fan fiction called To Shape and Change. I saw this as a pretty highly rated fan fiction in the Harry Potter fandom for a while, but the tagline at the end of the summary just had me looking away from it for a while, but I eventually decided to give it a chance. Synopsis is thus: alternate universe time travel. Snape goes back in time, holding the knowledge of what is to come if he fails. No longer holding a grudge, he seeks to shape Harry into the greatest wizard of all time, starting on the day Hagrid took Harry to Diagon Alley. No Horcruxes.
Those last two words make me really nervous about this fic.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've seen it for a long time on the page with the top 25 fics. It's got over 17,000 favorites, so it's a good story. It's just, like I said, I looked away from it for a while just because I didn't like the no Horcruxes twist, but in the end, when I gave it a try, it was a very good story and came across with quite an interesting alternate interpretation of how Voldemort could be immortal. So it was a good twist, a good story, and no bashing as far as I can remember, so that's good too.
That might be something I have to give a try.
Yeah. Like I said, I've recommended this author before. She's got a couple of good Harry Potter fics.
Okay. Anyone else? Because I actually found one. Go figure.
Go for it.
All right.
I've got a rec, but I'm going to give it last.
All right, so my recommendation is Red and the Husk of Frost. So this is a Pokemon fic. Games, not anime.
Post it.
Games, not
Post
anime. So
Post it.
this
Post
is
it in the chat.
basically Red comes down from Mount Silver for the World Champion tournament thing, the Pokemon World Tournament in Black 2 and White 2. And basically tours the Unova region. And yeah, surprisingly,
Blaze Black 2 again.
yeah. So surprisingly, given the summary, it's actually really well developed.
Despite the okay.
Yeah. So all of the characters are, put together fairly well and actually fit in the story, so no one's being ridiculous. It all kind of makes sense and gels together pretty well. Also, pretty much as soon as he gets to the Unova region, he bangs the Black 2 protagonist's mum. So that amused me for some reason, because he's terrified of the guy finding out because he met him 5 minutes earlier, and
Then immediately tupped his mom.
yeah, pretty much. So that
sounds hilarious.
yeah, it's pretty good. Also, Sharon is a douchebag, and yeah, so is Red. So that was fun too. Yeah, it's a pretty good story actually. It's not very far through. So it's starting pretty well. So I'm going to stick with it and see how it goes. That's my recommendation.
Nice. So how much flack will I get for shameless self-promotion for the Crossbrain?
Don't know.
Okay. I'm recommending that anyone who's a fan of Invite Discord server, there's a permanent invite. Should be in the video description, I suppose. It's got a bunch of different general rooms. You can discuss stuff that you want, and we're, like I said, developing a tradition of finding really, really horrid fanfics and reading them aloud for each other's amusement.
I do that with my friends too sometimes.
I highly recommend that you join.
Oh boy, I can't wait to read everybody one of the best fanfics, Gurren Jesus. Yeah.
Do keep in mind, though, that you might want to wait on it until you've reviewed this Bites, because there are going to be spoilers, most likely.
Yeah, obviously. I'm gonna catch up on this Bites, and then I'll probably jump in there and say hi to everybody.
Is this a permanent invite link?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a permanent invite link. This is, as far as I'm aware, the only permanent invite link. It's
Alrighty.
the one that's posted up in the official thread. It's one that's going to be, once I get around to updating it, in my user signature, both on SB and SV.
Okay. Cool beans. Yeah, no one else got any recommendations? I think everyone's given one, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, that's pretty much the end of the episode. So, for people that don't really give a shit about the Wampus, sorry about the Wampus talk. Unfortunately, we're probably going to be doing it again next week, but after that, we're going to run out of stuff to talk about because I'll be caught up.
We'll do Wampus Part 2 later, but for now we're just going to put it there. Like, at least we saved it till the end, so anyone who didn't want to listen to all that Wampus talk could just bounce.
You realize we're just literally saying Wampus as often as we can at this point, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's
I
what
know.
we're doing.
Yeah, I really like the word.
It's a good word. All right.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to thank everybody for listening to the Fandom Flux podcast, episode 193. If you would like to get in contact with us, you can do so through the YouTube channel, through the comments. Yeah. You can basically tell when the fucking echo gets a little ahead of, a little behind me, so it stalls me out. Please donate on Patreon if you feel so inclined. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone for listening to the Fandom Flux podcast
Episode 193. We'll see you guys later.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.